There are over 8,000 hotels in this country, and we've got one of them. But for the next little while, our place is being called the Handyman Rehabilitation Center. The hotel in question is in Niagara Falls, where 5 very proud builders will each be turning one of these ordinary rooms into a sexy honeymoon suite.
Bring it on.
This process will forever marry the builders to the concepts behind basic carpentry, everyday electrical work, and standard household plumbing.
The part of our idea that's divorced from common sense is that our builders are the most abysmal amateur home renovators in the entire country. Them. This is Canada's worst handyman.
And the nominees for Canada's Worst Handyman Season 6 are... from Pickering, Ontario, Charlene.
My name is Charlene, and I've been nominated by my twin sister, Charmaine, as Canada's Worst Handyman.
Charlene likes to destroy things and then have them replaced by Dave, her patient husband.
Watch your baseboard. Oh. There goes Dave's nice work.
Charlene's goal in rehab is to learn enough skills to rebuild things with her husband because...
I'm done. I'm not doing any of this that you started now until you get the skills you need to help me with this floor. That's a promise.
Also headed to Handyman Rehab is new dad, Dan, hailing from Cambridge, Ontario.
My name is Dan, and I've been nominated by my lovely wife, Natasha, as Canada's Worst Handyman.
Natasha would like to keep the family at home and help Dan on his handyman projects. But Dan's temper is too severe.
Oh, off!
I go to my mom's house when Dan is going to work on the house.
Yep.
Dan's goal in rehab is learning how to work with his wife.
Scoot along with the little one.
Daddy smash.
Daddy smash! Oh!
From Dunchurch, Ontario, Rob is an accident waiting to happen.
My name is Rob. I've been nominated by my girlfriend Joanne as Canada's Worst Handyman.
And the reason I nominated you was because you're totally dangerous.
And Rob has the scars and stories to prove it.
I actually fell off the ladder twice with a broken leg. That one hurt.
Rob's goal in rehab...
Oh, you okay?
...is to learn safer ways to work.
It's a neck.
Now, meet landlord and businessman, Ajay, from Strathmore, Alberta.
I am nominated by my wife, Prabjot, as a Canada's Worst Handyman.
At Country Donair, Ajay likes to fix things fast and cheap. For example,
Down here.
Ajay recently fixed his entranceway.
Professional, they charge like easily $300, and just like that's $4 thing.
Ajay's goal in rehab
It's good to be fast.
is to learn patience
This is done.
and the value of a job well done.
It's done. Job done.
Hey,
Hold on. Let the water, otherwise it will. Job done. Job done.
And finally, we have a youth worker, Matt, from Ottawa.
My name is Matt, and I've been nominated by my so-called friend Corey as Canada's worst handyman.
Matt recently bought his first house.
That really came out, eh?
But he doesn't know how to fix anything in it.
What do I know about plumbing? I know that my house has it.
Matt's goal in rehab is to learn enough skills to single-handedly redo his bathroom.
This tub's gotta go.
Nothing says honeymoon suite quite like a heart-shaped tub says honeymoon suite. In every episode of Canada's Worst Handyman this year, the nominees will be installing one of these bad boys in their room. And the first part of that process is something called framing. Now, framing is really just a fancy way of saying locking the tub securely in place.
Morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
That's one of our rehab center experts, Jeff Woodmansey, a veteran general contractor who's about to explain phase 1 of tub installation.
We have to build a deck for the tub to sit on.
To build the deck, the bad handyman will have to make a perimeter stud wall and additional support walls covered by 2 sheets of plywood. But this plywood must have a heart-shaped hole cut into it, large enough for the tub's body to fit through, tight enough for the tub's edge to catch.
You want to see your tub edge sitting 1 inch over the plywood.
Cool.
You're going to have to put supports under here so the plywood doesn't flex when you get in and out of the tub.
When Jeff explains how many inches apart the wall studs should be,
From this stud to this stud, 16.
this class is over. Dan shows us how it's done by tracing his tub, then cutting 1 inch to the inside of that line. When they agree on measurements, Dan and Natasha make a perimeter stud wall.
He's
My
16 and then he wants to cut the end
The
off.
argument here is
But it's not going perfectly.
oh God, that's terrible.
To build their interior support wall, Dan and Natasha work together.
Come on, man.
And they're able to get their plywood to support their tub's edge just the way Jeff described in class.
Can you get it? Yeah.
When the deck is screwed down,
Yeah, it's done.
Dan is our first success.
I'm shocked. I'm literally shocked. I'm so slow usually.
Cutting out his heart shape, it's clear that Ajay still doesn't know how to use his reciprocating saw. And neither does Matt. A reciprocating saw's blade sticks through a piece of flat steel called the shoe. It's this thing right here. If the shoe isn't pressed firmly against the plywood, the blade's teeth will rapidly push and pull the wood, as Ajay is now demonstrating at slow speed. To use a reciprocating saw correctly, the shoe must be pressed tightly against the material it's cutting. This prevents bouncing, and stability creates accuracy. When everyone gets their hearts cut out,
All right.
Ajay starts cutting out a thinner heart. What is he doing? Instead of cutting 1 inch away from his original line, Ajay's cut off a 1 inch strip.
That's the lip. That's the lip.
That's the lip?
That's the lip. The tub is going to hang on that.
1 inch.
That's an inch, all right.
This will sit on like this.
Okay.
This will sit like this on
Okay.
the corners. The another wall, and the tub on the top.
All right. Looking forward to seeing that.
No, no, no.
When we come back, the tub framing wraps up.
How did this happen?
And we test the bad handymen on their knowledge of tools.
Oh, I have this one. I have this one, and this is very confusing. Flip it.
This year, during every episode of Canada's Worst Handyman, the builders will be installing heart-shaped tubs in their honeymoon suites. Today, their task is to make a frame and deck for those tubs. Ajay finally realizes that he's made a deck that makes no sense.
This is garbage.
This is garbage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For Prabjot,
You confused me.
Ajay's mistakes are an everyday headache.
Oh!
Rob's work is coming along in its usual dangerous way. And Charlene's project is predictably grinding along at slow speed.
What? It's still crooked.
And finally, Matt's frame
That's awesome.
is apparently awesome.
Awesome.
That's awesome, eh? That's awesome, eh?
However, Matt's plywood is a little less than awesome.
What the? Oh, yeah.
What the hell?
How did this happen?
To compensate, Matt cuts a chunk off his frame,
Snug and tight.
but he didn't cut enough.
Okay.
We had 3 hours allotted for this challenge. After more than 4 hours, Matt hasn't even started his support walls.
Hey,
How's it going?
good. What do you think?
Can I make the jump?
No, you cannot.
Guess how Matt thinks he did? Awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's a heart-shaped hot tub. What more do you want?
Rob also needs support pieces.
Don't walk on the plywood.
Hokey dokey.
Well, there's no support here.
Rob will have to finish later.
The pieces fit together, just needs a little bit more assembly.
Throughout this challenge,
Uh-oh.
No, 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 no.
Prabjot has been supporting Ajay. But she can't support his claim of being 100% finished.
You didn't put in the extra support wall for that?
Yes.
Ajay.
Ajay still has work to do.
Don't you guys worry. I will fix it.
As usual,
Oh, why is that so short?
the person who is the farthest behind
It's going on crooked.
is Charlene, whose hands are full with jewelry alone.
So we're just gonna have to pull the plug on this and move on with our lives.
Okay.
At least, Charlene recognizes her problem.
I think we're slow.
We're quizzing Canada's worst handymen to see if they can inspect some tools and figure out what they are.
What's this tool called?
Holy smoke. In Nepal, they use knife like this.
Let's see.
I would look at this and think it's broken.
That I don't know.
This tool here, I don't know what it's called, but it's for removing grout from between tiles.
It's a grout saw, all right. For this quiz, Gail is asking the bad handyman to identify 10 intermediate level tools.
What's this?
A level?
It's
It's not a level. Oh, I know what this is.
I don't know what it's called.
I think this is like a magnetic screw or stud finder.
It is a stud finder. Dan recognizes the most tools, getting 5 correct. But when it comes to identifying things like a drywall rasp,
That's not a cheese grater, but it's pretty close.
or an electrical tester, Matt is the most uneducated person in rehab.
I don't think I've ever seen one of these. I don't know.
Matt only recognizes one tool.
It's for geez, this is horrible. It's for the,
When we come back, the nominees for Canada's Worst Handyman install soundproof headboards.
All right. Oh, man.
Using staplers powered by compressed air.
One thing you don't want in a honeymoon suite is super thin walls, because let's face it, some things should just remain private. So, the next challenge for Canada's Worst Handyman is to make and install soundproof acoustic panels that will be mounted right over their beds.
Teaching how to soundproof will be our expert, Gail Prosser-Craig. But instead of having the handyman soundproof a whole wall,
We're going to minimize it a bit and turn it into the size of a headboard.
soundproofing starts with a frame made from plastic edge pieces that go together like this, with a different piece here in the center. The key is making these cuts on perfect 45-degree angles. And to do that,
We're going to use something called a miter box. And this is called a back saw.
a back saw is called that
Now I'm cutting on a 45-degree angle.
because it cuts on the backstroke.
Now I have my first angle.
When all the pieces are cut, they get stuck on the wall with adhesive. But so the plastic strips don't slip while the adhesive dries, they also require staples.
Everyone is going to get one of the pneumatic staplers.
Pneumatic means the staples will be shot by air coming through this hose.
This is called a quick connect coupling. You pull it down to insert this end of the gun into it. Then you let go. Now it's locked. Okay, pretty easy.
When the frame is glued and stapled up and the fiberglass soundproof panels are in place, the covering fabric is all that's left.
You want to put a little bit of the material on at a time, all the way around, until all of this material has been tucked inside it. Then you're done.
Thank you. Thank you.
In no time flat,
You're stressing me out.
Dan is about to snap.
You're killing me.
Okay.
You're hurting my brain, Natasha.
What's really hurting Dan's brain is trying to figure out which directions he should cut his angles.
Okay.
And Dan isn't the only one confused by cutting angles.
Oh, I always do this on angles. Oh, dude, I cut it the wrong angle. Always do this.
Incredibly, all of our bad handymen cut their angles the wrong way.
What am I doing?
It's gonna go this side.
Again, you're doing the wrong cut.
Huh?
It's wrong. Oh, yeah, it's wrong. I don't think we've done one right yet.
I'm going this way.
That's not gonna cut the right angle.
What? What am I doing? I don't understand. Now I don't understand at all. I'm completely How the hell am I making this 45-degree angle?
May I make a suggestion?
What?
I would suggest that when trying to force something, like adhesive, for example,
So serious, eh?
you should read the instructions. The adhesive instructions say to pierce the tube's inner seal.
What is this thing for? I don't know how to do this.
Ow. Ow. Oh, why it's not working?
Only when the seal is pierced can the adhesive come out.
Give me the thing.
And now the adhesive is under pressure.
Oh, this is gonna explode.
And if you really want to make your head explode, imagine this. Matt sticks his strip to the wall before he's got his stapler ready. And it's a mistake everyone is making.
We need to put the staples right away.
Oh my God, it's going down.
Oh!
We're losing it!
Charlene's strip has slid a small amount, but she doesn't know it yet.
It slid down. So you just gotta move it up.
At this stage, taking it off and moving it up is a big ordeal. And Ajay's facing it too.
Oh. No, 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 no. This is worse, getting worse. Ow! Ow!
Please note, Ajay and Prabjot are both wearing safety glasses around their necks.
This is what we're gonna do now.
Ajay.
Rob has his frame up, his fiberglass cut and installed, and when his fabric covering is put in place,
That's a nice job, Rob.
Yeah, we're done.
Rob's done a perfect job.
Yeah, and no blood. Yes.
Dan neglected to install the centerpiece in his frame. That means his fiberglass doesn't fit, and there's nowhere to anchor his fabric.
Oh, that's killer.
Dan didn't follow our instructions.
My plan for this is to take it down, try and do it like they showed me.
Ajay created his frame without ever measuring his acoustic panels.
And I'm gonna put straight like, no. No.
Trying to right the wrong, Ajay cuts a lot of short pieces.
It's again short a little bit.
But Ajay's fabric does go up.
So what would you give this out of 100?
Let me stand back and see. I give 60.
Ajay's problem was getting frustrated.
I got frustrated with the glue and that gun.
Matt also didn't measure his panels before making his frame. Matt's unfinished work is really stacking up.
All right. Oh, now they're...
And as usual, Charlene is lost.
How did those go in? How do you do?
I can't remember now.
Where do you think you are in terms of versus everybody else on this project?
Oh, at the bottom for sure.
Charlene is at the bottom for one simple reason.
I didn't follow instructions.
If I had to make something that size, I would need days to do it.
I thought you measured the mirrors.
When we come back, Canada's worst handymen try to install mirrors
Ajay!
over their honeymoon suite beds.
Oh!
Mirrors. They'll show you a lot of angles you wouldn't normally be able to see. And let's face it, in something as sassy as a honeymoon suite, folks want to be able to see every available angle. So the next challenge for Canada's Worst Handymen is to install mirrors on their ceilings, over their beds. Mirrors, they're so cool.
So far in rehab,
How do those go in? How do you do?
I can't remember now.
Charlene hasn't come close to completing a project.
So we're just gonna have to pull the plug on this and move on with our lives.
Okay.
So,
Hi.
our expert Gail will be helping Charlene attach the mirrors to her ceiling.
We're gonna make ourselves a plan.
Planning means measuring
18.
and then drawing.
So we have 18, 18, and 18. If the panels are going like this,
Before getting screwed to the concrete ceiling, these 2x2s will need pilot holes, so the large concrete screws don't split the wood. Next, Gail shows Charlene how to drill through the pilot holes to mark her ceiling.
okay. See, all of our holes have been started.
When the pilot holes in the ceiling are finished,
Great.
the 2x2s are locked in place
That's what we want.
using special masonry screws. A wider wooden frame is then attached to the 2x2s. This wider frame has a lip that will then support 1x3s.
Put it in between the lines you drew. I'll do the same.
These 1x3 ribs will ultimately brace the mirrors. When all 3 mirrors are put in place,
You bring it down.
Charlene covers the open end. And this project is done.
Actually, a project done. So it's wicked.
To help the rest of the bad handymen succeed,
63, 1/4.
we've left a fully constructed mirror frame in our lobby.
I don't know what the you're doing.
We gave everyone a hammer drill for this challenge. Hammer drills spin like a normal drill, but they also rapidly jab like a woodpecker. Matt's hammer drill, though, doesn't look like it's working properly.
And it's on the hammer setting? No, you got it on drill setting, my friend. Look, if you set it over here onto the hammer set, it'll actually do while it's spinning. And it,
Nice.
that's
Awesome.
hammer
That's
drill.
awesome.
Because it'll.
Beautiful. That was awesome. That went easy.
Next door in Ajay's room, he's got his drill on the wrong setting.
Done.
Ajay is nowhere close to done. He still has 7 holes to drill. Surely he'll soon realize he's not on the correct drill setting. Rob is also pretty heated.
Ah, yeah, sucker. Ah. You.
But Rob is learning to work through his frustrations
Watch your head.
and complete his projects.
You wait a little bit.
You're done.
Rob's work is finished. And it looks good.
It's finished and it looks good, but I wouldn't have one in my room.
Dan doesn't seem to want his wife in his room.
ask you to let go. Please just let go.
Natasha has been happily helping.
Build more stuff.
But Dan is discouraging her help.
This is just taking way too long.
I'm sorry.
Actually, what's taking Dan so long are his own mistakes.
The mirror's bigger than the whole thing.
What did we do? Oh!
I don't know. I didn't. Don't. I just did what you.
No, that's not your fault, honey. Man.
So, can you get new wood? Okay, so.
What Dan needs is a new attitude.
You do the measurements. Clearly, I don't know what the I'm doing.
He sure doesn't know what he's doing.
I'm trying to be supportive here, baby.
To be supportive, Natasha recommends drilling this screw at 163 centimeters.
No.
No. It.
163 centimeters.
Okay, fine. 163 then, even though it doesn't show that at all.
I'm done.
See ya.
Dan has a lot to learn.
I want him to learn that he can do it so that he doesn't beat himself up so much. Because I don't like seeing him like that.
When Matt's frame is almost ready for the mirrors, Matt makes a sad realization.
Oh, shh. Yes, I did this wrong. I did the whole thing wrong. Oh, this is done all wrong.
Matt made his frame too small for the mirrors.
I kind of feel like the past however many hours I've been doing this, we're all for nothing.
Why don't I have 4 hands?
For this entire project, Ajay has been working at double speed.
Should not go.
Patience would help, but
Right.
Ajay!
Here we go.
Ajay does get his mirrors installed.
Congratulations.
Oh.
And now, Ajay is proud.
I just finished my mirror sealing and I gave myself 100%.
When we come back,
Where? Here?
it's time for this episode's group challenge.
This is not good.
Some building materials may look a little wonky, but even something as fragile as glass can be rock solid if used correctly. Once an episode here in this hotel, the nominees for Canada's Worst Handyman will be joining forces on a group project building a spa. And today, their task is creating a reception desk out of glass block. Let's hope this is a challenge that doesn't break them.
Because he was the most improved handyman last episode, Matt will be the foreman of today's group challenge.
Go, 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 go.
Without drawing or even discussing a desk building plan, Matt starts
Oh, it looks nice.
by mortaring down a line of blocks, or a course of blocks, but he isn't using critical building pieces called spacers.
This is not going well.
Matt should know how to do this because just minutes ago, Matt received a glass block building lesson from our expert, Jeff.
Matt, over here, over here.
Laying glass block starts out straightforward enough.
You're gonna lay a bed of mortar. All right.
Spreading mortar on the block is called buttering.
This is going against the wall, that's why it's buttered. You have excess, clean it up.
The next block is buttered, leveled, and then perfectly positioned with this, a universal spacer.
That's just gonna sit right in here.
An anchor panel gives the mortar against the smooth wall something to bond with.
There you go.
And reinforcing bars go in between every other course. To support the surface of the desk, a wooden brace should be screwed to the wall here, and the glass blocks will need to make a 90-degree turn here. By the way, Matt will also need to make this surface for his desk, which he'll have to cover with Formica. To make this 90-degree turn,
this is a corner block.
Okay.
That gives you your actual shape at the end.
Okay.
Okay?
Awesome.
Charlene is jackhammering the floor to make way for a new one that's coming. Dan is preparing to repair some desperate drywall. And Matt himself is leading Ajay and Rob through the desk building challenge.
See, we're off.
But Matt hasn't installed an anchor panel, there's no rebar in place, and he's still not using spacers.
Yeah, I'm supposed to have spacers here.
Uh-oh.
It's more than Jeff can stand.
Hey, guys.
So I've got to take this apart.
You might have to take the one out.
The corner piece comes out, the mortar gets removed, and the panel anchor goes in place, just as I arrive with the surface material for the reception desk.
Mr. Foreman, that's Formica, so you have to build something to mount it onto.
Instead of building something to mount it on, Matt keeps on constructing a wall. A wall that's being slapped together without a plan.
This is not good.
It's not good at all. And when Matt says his creation is finally done, it certainly doesn't look like a desk.
It looks like, you know, a glass wall.
But what's it supposed to be?
I know.
Matt doesn't really see the problem.
These days, some reception areas have really tall reception.
When we come back, someone is named the worst handyman in this episode. It's time for the experts to inspect the work done by the Canada's Worst Handyman nominees this episode, starting in Ajay's suite.
Hello, sir.
High five.
Oh, high five. Excuse me. How you making out?
Good.
Good. So 3 projects today.
The first project was tub framing, which Ajay tried to do too quickly.
Done.
You will see more success if you simmer down.
Ajay did succeed on the mirrored ceiling challenge, but his rushing hurt Prabjot.
Congratulations.
Oh, that's the why the safety helmet is there.
And Ajay was so hasty during his acoustic panel installation,
The pressure is too much.
he made mistakes that cost him materials.
Ah.
An old expression is haste makes waste.
I do make waste.
Next, we visit Rob.
How's it going, Rob?
Oh, not too bad.
Rob almost got his frame done. He did get his mirrors up, and
I think you did a great job with your acoustic wall.
Yeah, I think it went reasonably well.
in Matt's room, nothing is done well.
I might be on my way to the worst for this episode.
Charlene also may be the worst for this episode.
The framing of the tub was basically a disaster, or?
Yeah, I'd say it was a disaster.
And then you got to the acoustic panel. How did that go?
That went wrong as well.
The last room to visit is Dan's. Dan made the tub framing look easy.
It's the only pass in the rehab center.
But the easier projects of the soundproof headboard and the mirrored ceiling both degenerated into such anger for Dan
I'm done.
See ya.
His wife left him helpless rather than take his abuse.
You know, we had a little bit of a rough spot earlier on today. You know, hopefully I'm learning from my mistakes.
It's time to decide this episode's worst handyman.
Holy glass wall. Nice reception desk. Let's just jump right to the point. We all know why we're here. It's to name the worst for this episode. Who do you got?
Jeff votes for Dan.
His temper got the best of him. And that took away from getting his mirror completed. The guy didn't get his acoustic wall finished.
Gail thinks Charlene is this episode's worst.
Aww.
Come on. No tub framed in.
Uh-huh.
No acoustic panel completed.
At least Charlene's mirrors are up.
If I had left her alone in the room to get that mirror done, it would have never been accomplished.
What defines a bad handyman? Is it where they start and where they get to? Where they start, where they fall back to? And I see Dan falling back.
How can he be falling back if he's the only one to complete the hardest project?
While the folks who nominated Canada's Worst Handyman watch the televised proceedings from their lounge, the builders line up to find out this episode's most improved is...
You, Ajay.
You know it. Congratulations, sir.
Ajay was named the most improved because even though he suffered due to his rushing, he persevered and got 2 projects correctly finished.
Go, 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 go.
Hey!
Thank you.
And that brings me to the worst for this episode. So, who is the worst? Well, the worst for this episode is... Dan.
Dan suspected he'd get this honor because...
Well, I don't think anybody else had their wife or significant other walk out on them, so that's probably got to be it.
Bingo.
We chose Dan as the worst handyman this episode because... Dan failed 2 basic projects.
Fabric to fabric.
Yeah.
And he alienated his supportive wife in the process.
You're hurting my brain, Natasha.
Now, Dan has to hang his head in shame.
I never want to see you there again.
I hope not to be.
While the other handymen go home, Dan and I enter his room.
All right, Dan, homework.
All righty.
For homework, Dan has to vow to make a change.
Correct me if I'm wrong. You've been working on some projects at home for over a year.
Yeah.
Dan says these projects would go faster if he had help.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that help is already in your home.
Yeah, I'm starting to realize that, yeah. Oh.
Natasha is the help Dan's been looking for.
Oh, thanks, honey. That's very nice. Well, honey, we can take those back, because I'm really sorry that I've been a bit of an ass. You know, it's got to stop, because, I mean, I need your help around the house. And clearly, you know enough to be able to help me out. I can't keep kicking you out of the house. So, I'm really sorry.
I'm sorry, too.
Oh.
On the next episode of Canada's Worst Handyman. The folks in our rehabilitation center learn the art of plumbing. They install hanging chairs
They're all copper.
They hook up electrically heated towel racks.
What kind of pretentious, superficial uses one of these things?